On our 5th wedding anniversary, my husband said he would accompany me to a concert. Until the concert started, I didn't see him anywhere. Because of my inconvenient legs and feet, I was knocked down by the fans who were in a hurry to enter the venue. On the way to the hospital for an examination, I saw a screenshot of a Moments post that my friend had sent me half an hour ago. Thanks, guys, for spending Valentine's Day with me. Most importantly, thank you for being there. The people in the photo were all wearing mountaineering suits. My husband was standing right in the middle with his arm around a woman with a good figure. The ring on his ring finger was shining with a faint light under the flash. It hurt my eyes so much that tears streamed down my face. Does it hurt a lot? We'll be at the hospital soon. Just hold on a little longer. The medical staff thought I was crying because of the pain. I took a deep breath and wiped my face. It's okay. I'm used to the pain. I had been free from crutches for a long time already. Unexpectedly, just from that fall, I went home with a new pair of crutches. Lucas didn't come back until nearly 11 o'clock. I clearly saw that he was still smiling before he entered the door. But when he noticed that I was sitting in the dim living room, he frowned. Could you stop sitting there without turning on the light? It's kind of creepy. While speaking, as if he remembered something, he took out a few wilted wildflowers from his pocket. How was the concert? Something urgent came up at the company. I forgot to tell you. Seeing that I didn't reach out my hand, Lucas casually threw the flowers into the trash can. By the time I was done with work, the flower shop was already closed. I picked these 2 flowers casually outside. If I had known you disliked them, I wouldn't have bothered. I didn't respond to his words but looked at the clothes on Lucas instead. He was wearing the same clothes as when he went out in the morning. It was completely different from the sporty style in the photo. When did you start climbing mountains again? I asked in a flat voice. The man, whose attention had been on his phone all along, froze for a moment, but soon there was no sign of anything unusual. How long has it been since we threw away our sports equipment? Where did you hear such false information? I forwarded the screenshot of the Moments post to him. Lucas was stunned for 2 seconds after seeing it, and then he got furious. Emily, are you crazy? You actually had someone spy on me. The man's breakdown was within my expectation, but the way he lashed out still made my heart ache. After pacing back and forth a few steps, he frowned and said, Yes. Your legs were disabled because of me. So, should I completely give up my hobbies for you? Why are you so selfish? This is moral blackmail. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. It turned out that in Lucas's eyes, my worry was a restraint on him. It turned out that in just 3 years, Lucas could forget how painful we were on the day the accident happened. Do as you like. I knew the person in front of me well. The adventurous spirit in his bones would urge him to go back to his old ways. But this time, I didn't want to stop him anymore. Lucas didn't expect me to say that. He put away his anger and forced a smile. Emily, it's my fault that I lied to you today. I went climbing with them because I lost a bet. But don't worry, I'll never go to dangerous places. Today's long wait, combined with the physical pain, made me exhausted physically and mentally, and I didn't want to talk to him anymore. Picking up the crutches beside me, I slowly walked back to my room. Aren't you supposed to be free from crutches long ago? Who are you putting on this act for now? The answer to the man was the sound of the door being locked. The next morning, as soon as I walked out of the bedroom, I saw Lucas dressed in mountaineering clothes, ready to go out. As if on purpose, he moved his ankles in front of me. Since you already know, then I don't have to bother hiding it anymore. I've signed up for a mountaineering competition next month. I'll be in intensive training recently and won't be back unless necessary. After saying that, he slammed the door shut, completely not caring about my reaction. The doctor asked me to keep doing physiotherapy. After meeting the friend I had arranged to meet yesterday, I went to the hospital again. Just as it was my turn, I heard a commotion at the entrance of the doctor's office. Doctor, could you please check my girlfriend's injury? We have a competition coming up. Could she recover as soon as possible? When the door opened, that familiar face made me sure that what I had just heard was not an illusion. Lucas was holding the woman he had his arm around in yesterday's photo. He looked extremely anxious. After hearing the doctor say that it was just a slight sprain and she would recover in a week, he let out a long breath, then turned his head and met my gaze. "Why are you here?" After asking this question instinctively, Lucas realized that he was still holding someone. He quickly put the woman on the chair. But the woman put her arms around Lucas's neck and acted coquettishly, and even gave him a kiss. "Stop it." After forcefully pulling the woman's hands off his neck, Lucas walked a few steps towards me. "Emily, let me explain. After all, I didn't want this man anymore." Sophie raised her smiling face and looked at Lucas. But she saw his ugly expression. So this was Sophie. Hearing this somewhat familiar name, I looked at the woman who had been sizing me up. "Sister-in-law, I've often heard Lucas mention you. That kiss is a way for our mountaineering team members to express gratitude. You won't mind, right?" The two of them were eagerly waiting for my reaction. I suddenly smiled. "Of course not. Why should I mind? After all, I didn't want this man anymore." Sophie raised her smiling face and looked at Lucas. But she saw his ugly expression. "Lucas, take me home. I'm a little tired." Sophie gently pulled on Lucas's sleeve. Without a second's hesitation, the man shook off her hand. "Jack is waiting outside. Call him. I'm going to stay with my wife." I didn't want to watch these two people putting on an act in front of me. I signaled to the little nurse who had been watching the scene for a long time to continue with my treatment. After the treatment was over, I had just walked out of the consulting room on my crutches when Lucas picked me up all of a sudden. There was still the fragrance of an unfamiliar woman on him. I felt sick to my stomach and struggled to make him put me down. "Don't move." The man slapped my buttocks and then adjusted his hold on me by lifting me up a bit with both hands. "Why have you lost so much weight? Didn't you have proper meals again?" These words successfully brought me back to the time when I just got married to Lucas. We got together in college because of our same hobbies. We were deeply in love and got married right after graduation. Lucas was very busy with work and often worked overtime. I didn't like eating alone, so I often skipped dinner. At that time, he would occasionally do what he just did, lift me up a bit to check my weight like that. And if he thought I had lost weight, no matter how tired he was, he would cook by himself to make sure I was well fed. Since when did we become like this? By the time I came to my senses, Lucas had already put me in the passenger seat. With a click, he had also fastened my seat belt. Sensing that Lucas was about to kiss me, I leaned my whole body backward. Immediately after that, I felt something strange behind me. I saw that I had pulled out a black lace lingerie stuffed behind the lumbar support. Lucas's expression changed suddenly. "Emily, His words were interrupted by the lingerie that I threw at his face. "I've been in mountain climbing training these 2 days. The car was borrowed by Aksu and the others. Believe me, I don't know whose this is." The man grabbed the lingerie in his hand and quickly explained. The smell of that lingerie was exactly the same as Sophie's. Whether she did it on purpose or not. Anyway, this really disgusted me. I took out the cleaning wet wipes placed in the car. I wiped my fingers one by one. Then I threw the dirty wet wipes back to Lucas. "Aren't you going to take me home? Hurry up. I'm tired." I'm not a person with a good temper by nature. If it had been before, encountering such a thing, I would definitely have had a big fight with Lucas. So seeing that I took the initiative to let this matter pass, Lucas was astonished for a moment, and then his face turned livid. He seemed to be holding a grudge against someone. After driving the car downstairs, he didn't try to please me anymore. Instead, he just watched coldly as I walked in slowly on my crutches. "Why aren't you angry?" As soon as Lucas entered the door, he finally couldn't help asking. I didn't even look at him. While sending a message to my friend, I asked, "What's there to be angry about?" After waiting for a while without hearing an answer, I looked up and saw Lucas looking at me with an ambiguous look in his eyes. "Are you deliberately pretending to be stupid or do you really not care?" The man's tone made it seem like I was the one who had cheated. A new message reminder popped up on my phone. I looked down and saw that it was a drafted divorce agreement. With one click to forward it, I looked at Lucas. There's nothing to care about. Let's get a divorce. It has nothing to do with me who you want to be with. When my phone vibrated, Lucas subconsciously clicked on it. He didn't hear my words clearly, but he saw the electronic version of the divorce agreement I sent. The man suddenly looked up. Did you just say you want to divorce me? Why? Is it because I hid from you that I went climbing? Or because I didn't accompany you on our wedding anniversary? So he knew that yesterday was our wedding anniversary. Both and neither. My ambiguous answer didn't satisfy Lucas. He carefully read the content in the divorce agreement. Dividing the marital property equally? Why? I've been bearing all the household expenses over the years. Besides, in your current state, who else would want you after leaving me? Even though I had known for a long time that Lucas and I wouldn't break up amicably, but his words still turned into sharp swords, stabbing my heart until it bled. It's because of my current state, and it's all because of you. Lucas was speechless for a moment, and then he turned off his phone. I won't agree to the divorce. Calm down yourself. He casually packed a few clothes and then slammed the door and left. Both of our parents were not in the city. But I didn't care at all where he had gone. I clicked on Ethan's chat box. I read the message he sent a few days ago over and over again. I accept the invitation. I'll come over after I get divorced. Soon there was a response from the other side. Okay, you can come whenever you want. It would take at least half a month for the newly added injury to fully recover. Taking advantage of this time, I threw away or sold the things that belonged to me in the house. In a blink of an eye, Lucas had been away from home for a week. On this day, I went for physiotherapy as usual. When I came out of the hospital, I saw a little kitten almost being hit by a car. I quickly walked to the kitten on my crutches, picked it up, and then put it on the sidewalk. Oh my God! Did you see that woman? She can run so fast even with a limp. The joking voices of several people happened to reach my ears. Following the voices, I just happened to meet Sophie's gaze among them. Sister-in-law, why is it you? The person who had been laughing the loudest just now was her. We were just joking. Sister-in-law, please don't be angry. Sophie said sorry with her mouth, but there was nothing but contempt in her eyes. The several men beside her asked who I was. After hearing that I was Lucas's wife, they looked at each other in surprise. How come Lucas's wife is a cripple? Except for her face, in what way is she better than Sophie? Why did she drive Lucas out of the house? Sophie stood up straight with her back very straight under the compliments of the several men. There was a look of complacency on her face. What are you guys doing? The car has been honking for a long time. Why don't you go over? Lucas walked over from somewhere and looked a bit dissatisfied with them. The car I had ordered arrived, and I withdrew my attention from that side. Just as I was about to close the car door, I felt some resistance on my hand. Emily, wait a minute. I was too lazy to think about how fast Lucas had run over from where he was just standing. I'm in a hurry. Please let go. He didn't hear what I said and beckoned two of the people who had been standing there to come over. Emily, it's not easy to get a taxi here. They are members of the mountaineering team and have always said they wanted to visit our home. Give them a ride. The driver heard that Lucas and I were a couple, so he didn't rush me. Instead, he comforted me that there was still time and I didn't need to worry. I didn't want to make a big scene in front of strangers. I closed my eyes and ignored Lucas. The two people who had mocked me the most got into the car one after the other. As if nothing had happened, they called me sister-in-law right in front of Lucas. All the way, they sang the same tune, saying how nice Lucas was to the team members. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken Sophie to the hospital for checkups every day. They also insinuated that Lucas must love me very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said he missed home in front of them. Lucas's car arrived first. He and Sophie and a few others were chatting and laughing at the entrance of the community. As soon as our car stopped, those two immediately got out of the car and ran to them in a few steps. Seeing that I didn't move in the car, the driver gave me a puzzled look. "Sir, you still have to pick up other people, right? Please take me with you and stop anywhere on the way." After I paid the fare, I transferred some more money to the driver. Hearing the sound of the money arriving in his account, the driver didn't say a word and stepped on the accelerator to drive me forward. "Emily! Emily! Where are you going? Get out of the car." Lucas's shouts gradually disappeared as the distance grew. "Girl, don't blame me for being nosy. It's not easy for two people to be together. Don't let little things hurt your feelings." I sent a message asking my friend if she could take me in for a few days and replied calmly, "Among those people, there's my husband's mistress and her sycophants. They cursed me as a cripple at the hospital entrance, saying that I was ungrateful and shameless. In this situation, how can I go on with this life?" I looked at the driver through the rearview mirror. He turned on the radio and didn't say another word. Lucas kept calling me. After finding that I didn't answer, he sent quite a few messages one after another. He blamed me for not giving him face in front of his teammates. He called me narrow-minded, saying that I got angry just because his teammates said a few words. I was so annoyed that except for Lucas's mobile phone number, I blocked all other contact methods with one click. Maya gave me a warm welcome for coming to her. "How's the evidence collection going? If Lucas refuses to sign, do you want to file for divorce through litigation?" As the director of a media company, Maya was very precise and decisive in handling things. It was she who sent me that screenshot of the Moment's post. She also helped me get in touch with the divorce lawyer. The litigation process takes too long. I want to break off relations with him as soon as possible. Is there any good way? Maya brought me a cup of coffee. "You're really patient. You clearly knew that Lucas had a wandering heart long ago, but you didn't mention divorce until now." I flipped through the intimate photos of Lucas and Sophie saved in my album. I couldn't refute this statement. When did I find out that Lucas was cheating? Probably half a year ago. At that time, I had just been able to walk without crutches. When we went out on the street, my unique walking posture attracted the attention of many strangers. After that, Lucas was no longer willing to go out with me. He found all kinds of reasons and came home later and later. Until one time when he came back drunk, I saw some explicit photos sent by a woman named Sophie to him on his phone. Lucas and I met in the outdoor mountaineering club at university. After climbing famous mountains, big and small, in China, Lucas became obsessed with climbing wild mountains. I thought it was dangerous. After I persuaded him several times, he gave up the idea of taking risks. Until the accident happened, our relationship was very good. However, 3 years ago, when we made an appointment with some fellow enthusiasts to climb a mountain to watch the sunrise, Lucas left the team and walked alone on an undeveloped path. Afraid that something might happen to him, I didn't think much and followed him, trying to persuade him to go back. During the argument, Lucas slipped and rolled down the slope. To save him, I didn't notice that I stepped on an animal trap and also fell into a pitfall. At that time, because the wound was too deep and the accident site was too remote, by the time I was sent to the hospital, it was already too late. My right foot has since suffered irreversible damage. More importantly, I lost my child who was less than 2 months old in my belly. At that time, Lucas knelt in front of me and said sorry to me. He said that he would never climb mountains again. He said that he would love me wholeheartedly for the rest of his life. The days of rehabilitation were very painful. Lucas accompanied me and encouraged me all the time as he promised. That's why I could recover to my current state. In fact, I was also very sad that I couldn't continue outdoor sports. I also knew that it was impossible to make Lucas completely give up climbing mountains. But I didn't expect that he would form a mountaineering team behind my back and get involved with one of the team members. After he sobered up that day, facing those photos, Lucas knelt in front of me again. He said that he was bewitched and that he was just chatting with Sophie. He said that he would never make the same mistake again. I didn't find any other substantial evidence. Plus, I thought about my physical condition and the feelings I had for Lucas since college. So I relented and said I would forgive him once. Lucas and I had been together since our junior year at university. Including the years of marriage, it was a total of 6 years. In fact, I knew that there were only two kinds of cheating, 0 times and countless times. I just couldn't bear to part with the 6 years we had in the past. Lucas behaved himself for 2 months after that. Then his work started to become extremely busy. Our communication became less and less day by day. It wasn't until our anniversary that I saw that group photo. Do you think that woman could have ever imagined that the moments, posts and photos she sent would one day become the evidence that would condemn her? Maya sent me screenshots of Sophie's moments one by one. Coincidentally, Sophie was a minor internet celebrity, taking the route of a sports blogger. Due to work connections, she and Maya were friends on Moments. Maya had too many people on her social apps. She usually didn't pay much attention to what others posted on Moments. If it hadn't been for the group photo Sophie posted that day that caught Maya's attention, I wouldn't have known that Lucas and Sophie had gotten involved with each other again. You said before that the company wanted to cooperate with Sophie. Didn't you try to stop it? After seeing that group photo, Maya asked someone to inquire about Sophie's situation. It wasn't the first time she had meddled in other people's marriages. It was just that because she didn't have many fans and was in a niche field, she hadn't been exposed for a while. I did try to stop it. But Sophie had an affair with someone in our company's senior management. They were willing to promote her, and there was nothing I could do. Speaking of this, I had to admire Sophie's energy. She managed to juggle among several men and still managed to bewitch Lucas so much that he almost lost his head. Being able to get the intimate photos of Lucas and Sophie was also a lucky coincidence. I don't know if Sophie was too confident or if she liked collecting such things. She posted photos of herself with different men on an overseas website account that didn't have many followers. When Maya was helping me inquire about Sophie, the middleman she found did some private detective work in his spare time. Coincidentally, he had taken on a job to investigate Sophie 2 years ago. Back then, because of his investigation results, Sophie was driven out of that city by the wife of the man she was entangling with at that time. Hearing Maya mention this name again, that middleman dug deeper. He searched for Sophie's information all over the internet, and he really managed to find the newly registered account of Sophie. The reason Sophie could become an internet celebrity was besides her fairly good looks, most importantly, she had an excellent figure. This might also be the reason why she could juggle among so many men. The photos she updated on her overseas website account didn't show her whole face, but people who were familiar with her could recognize her at a glance. Most of the content she updated recently were group photos with Lucas. The two of them were either half naked or wearing very little. The scenes in the photos included the wild, hotels, and even in the car that Lucas drove. She probably thought that no one familiar would see them. She didn't even blur the license plate number. She just posted them all so blatantly. Although I had already decided to divorce after seeing that group photo on Moments, but seeing the ironclad evidence of Lucas's affair, I still couldn't help feeling sad. On the 4th day of staying at Maya's place, I received a call from my mother-in-law. Actually, when I saw the name of the caller, I didn't really want to answer it. After the accident happened to me 3 years ago, Lucas's parents scolded and beat him. They said they were sorry to me, that they hadn't raised their son well and had caused me so much suffering. Because of their attitude and actions, my parents' dissatisfaction with Lucas was quickly dispelled. When I first discovered that Lucas was showing signs of having an affair, a large part of the reason why I chose to forgive him was also because of his parents. They were really nice people and treated me wholeheartedly. So I didn't know how to tell my mother-in-law that I was preparing to divorce. On the phone, after asking me about my recent situation as usual, my mother-in-law changed the topic and began to persuade me earnestly. Emily, if there are problems between husband and wife, communicate properly. Don't always run away from home. She didn't say anything harsh, but the implication in her words was that I was childish and a bit thoughtless. Although I knew that Lucas must have distorted the truth in front of them, I still couldn't help feeling aggrieved. And I was also a bit surprised. It turned out that Lucas didn't even tell the truth to his own parents, let alone to me. My mother-in-law had just had a coronary artery bypass grafting operation half a year ago. After hesitating for a while, I still didn't say the words about my intention to divorce Lucas on the phone. Emily, come back. Don't let your parents worry. Not long after my mother-in-law hung up the phone, I received a text message from Lucas. I had already finished my last physiotherapy session. I could walk on my own without crutches. Holding the printed divorce agreement, I was ready to go back and wanted to make things clear with Lucas once and for all. Don't you need me to accompany you? Before going out, Maya was a bit worried. No, I'll send you a message every half an hour. If I don't contact you within this time, then you can come to find me. In fact, it was only after discovering Lucas's affair half a year ago that I realized that I didn't know him as well as I thought I did. The internet was full of videos of two people who used to love each other fighting bitterly during a divorce. So I had already made the worst prediction in my heart. To my surprise, it wasn't just Lucas waiting for me. Both sets of parents were there. When they saw me enter the door, my mother was the first to look displeased. Emily, you're already an adult. Why can't you talk things over properly? Do you know how worried Lucas has been these 2 days? I didn't know what Lucas had told both sets of parents during the days when I wasn't back. He looked like he was willing to take any blame or scolding. After hearing my mother's words, he quickly spoke up, saying that it was all his fault, that he was too busy with work and had neglected me. I'm not blaming you, but Lucas is the one earning money to support both of you. Just because he didn't accompany you to the concert, was it necessary for you to lose your temper with him? My father had always been very protective of me. But this time, he actually took Lucas's side too. My in-laws didn't say anything, but from their expressions, it could be seen. They were very dissatisfied with my running away from home. Lucas refreshed my perception of him once again. He actually had such good acting skills that he managed to deceive both sets of elders. Taking a deep breath, I didn't hesitate any longer. I picked out some photos from my album and sent them to the group chat. For a moment, the sounds of messages being received in the room kept ringing one after another. Take a look at the group chat first, and then decide who to condemn. This was the first sentence I said after entering the door. The 4 elders looked at each other and then took out their mobile phones one after another. Lucas's expression changed, and he also unlocked his phone. With a clatter, the cup in his hand was smashed to the ground. You! Lucas's face turned as pale as a sheet. These photos are all fake. Yes, all of them. Emily, listen to me explain. I don't have that kind of relationship with her. While he was speaking, my mother finished looking at the photos first. She suddenly stood up and threw the tea on the table at Lucas. You beast! How dare you do something to betray Emily? My father picked up a slipper and threw it at Lucas. You've already gotten involved with another woman, yet you still dare to blame my daughter in front of us. Who gave you the guts? My mother-in-law covered her chest, gasping for breath while crying and shouting, "What a sin!" My usually taciturn father-in-law stood up and started to unbuckle his belt. Without saying a word, he whipped Lucas with it. The continuous curses in the room made me extremely annoyed. Enough! I shouted loudly, and finally, everyone quieted down. Since I entered the door, Lucas had a smug look in his eyes at first. But now, with tea leaves on his face and his arms swollen and red from being whipped, in just a few minutes, the treatment between him and me had completely reversed. I took out the divorce agreement and put it on the coffee table. I came back today to talk to Lucas about the divorce. Since you're all here, I don't need to inform you one by one. Emily. Lucas still wanted to say something, but I didn't even look at him. I found out that Lucas was cheating half a year ago. At that time, he said he wouldn't do it again. For the sake of our parents, I gave him a chance. With just this one sentence, I blocked the way my mother-in-law might have wanted to persuade me. Both sets of parents knew my temper. Once I made up my mind about something, I would never change it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have married Lucas right after graduation back then. Nor would I have settled down in this strange city with him. That woman just sprained her ankle, and Lucas was so anxious that he carried her to the doctor. But on the day of the concert, I was knocked down and my old injury flared up again, and he didn't even ask about it. Everyone in the room knew how I got my old injury. Back then, if it hadn't been for my father-in-law and mother-in-law turning things around, if it hadn't been for Lucas taking care of me without even taking off his clothes after the accident, my parents would never have let that matter pass so easily. But 3 years had passed. Lucas was no longer the person who only had me in his heart back then. He no longer cared about me or felt sorry for me. He even gave all his care and love to other women. Hearing these words, my parents' intention to persuade me must have disappeared too. Lucas is dissatisfied with the equal division of marital property in the divorce agreement. Mom and Dad, do you have anything to say? When we got married, the house was bought by both families together. I don't want the car since Sophie had something to do with it. The agreement clearly stated that 60% of the joint savings would go to me. At the same time, Lucas would convert half of the current price of the house into cash and give it to me. Lucas is dissatisfied with the equal division of marital property in the divorce agreement. Mom and Dad, do you have anything to say? Emily, it's our family that's sorry to you. If you want to leave, Mom won't stop you. Mom agrees to all the conditions you've proposed. Mom. Lucas probably didn't expect that his mother would give in so easily. He shouted. But was whipped by his father again with the belt. Sign it quickly. Stop talking nonsense. These were the words of my father-in-law. When I looked over, I realized that my father-in-law's eyes had turned red at some point. It was still early. Seeing that Lucas signed his name on the agreement, I immediately asked him to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me to handle the formalities. He didn't want to go, and my father-in-law offered to go with us on his own initiative. The staff there probably hadn't seen the father of the man coming to handle the divorce before. They asked us several times whether we were divorcing voluntarily. And then they started the procedures. Lucas tried to talk to me several times, but was deterred by my cold face. My father-in-law didn't want to pay attention to him either, but would occasionally say a word to me. After agreeing on the time to get the divorce certificate, I said goodbye to Lucas's father at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Dad, I won't go back to that house. You and Mom take care of yourselves. As I was speaking, my voice choked up a bit. If there was anything I regretted about this marriage, it must be that I was reluctant to part with such nice in-laws. Lucas's father patted me on the shoulder, with tears in his eyes. Good child, come and visit me and your mom when you're free in the future. We really like you. Don't cut off contact. I nodded and didn't refuse. From beginning to end, I didn't give Lucas an extra glance. He held it in for a long time and still shouted after I turned around and left. Emily. What he wanted to say was drowned out by his father's scolding of him. On the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau just now, I had already booked a hotel for my parents. Knowing that they had already checked in, I didn't go back to that house and went directly to the hotel to find them. Emily, why didn't you tell us earlier? As soon as I entered the door, my mother hugged me and started crying. I'm the only child in the family. Since I was a child, my parents had doted on me. They had always respected my decisions. So when it came to choosing a major in college or getting married right after graduation, they didn't have any objections. This was also the first time I saw my parents crying so sadly. Don't cry. I'll tell you some good news. I told my parents the news that Ethan had invited me to work for him. Hearing that not only had I found a job, but also that the workplace was in the city where our home was. Sure enough, my parents smiled and began to ask me about the details of that job. Half a month before getting the divorce certificate, I received a sum of money in my bank card. The amount was a bit more than what was agreed upon in the divorce agreement. Shortly after that, I received a message from my former mother-in-law. Emily, have you received the money? The extra part is a little token of affection from your dad and me. Keep it. It will surely come in handy. My throat felt a bit sour, and I forced myself to suppress the urge to cry. I replied with a message. Received it. Thank you, Mom. The competition that Lucas had mentioned before was held as scheduled. although my feet could no longer climb mountains. Due to the habits I had developed in the past few years, I had always been paying close attention to news related to mountain climbing. The competition that Lucas participated in was quite a big event. It was the largest mountain climbing competition in several neighboring cities in recent years. There were a large number of participants, and many of them were experts. My parents had already gone home. Maya didn't want me to stay in the hotel all the time. So I watched the live broadcast of the competition on the TV at her home. I don't know if it was because Sophie was an internet celebrity. The live broadcast camera often filmed her. Inevitably, Lucas also appeared in the camera from time to time. I hadn't seen him for half a month. Lucas seemed to have lost a lot of weight. He used to like chatting with people around him when climbing mountains before. But in the camera, he was wearing earphones, climbing on his own without saying a word to anyone, as if he was lost in his own world. Except for being a bit surprised when I first saw him, I didn't have any emotional fluctuations because of him later. The mountain in the competition had an altitude of nearly 2,000 meters. Besides speed, the result of the competition also referred to the heart rate of the participants. The more stable the heart rate and the faster the speed, the higher the reward would be. So the participants didn't just blindly pursue speed. Instead, they adjusted at any time according to their actual situations. In the second half of the competition, someone in the barrage asked where that young lady with a great figure had gone. At first, I didn't take it seriously. Until more and more people asked this question in the barrage. Although the whole process of the competition was broadcast live, it was impossible to have the camera on all the time during the climbing process. I didn't want to make bad guesses without evidence. But in this kind of competition, there were quite a few places where cheating could happen. When I thought that Lucas would disappear from the camera along with Sophie, the next second, I saw him still maintaining the speed he had at the beginning. Maya called me and asked me what I wanted to eat for dinner. She also chatted with me about some gossip for a while. When I shifted my attention back to the TV again, I found that many people in the barrage said that there had been an accident during the competition. It became a hot topic on Weibo. Seeing the word accident, I immediately picked up my phone and clicked on Weibo. Perhaps not many people had seen it yet. I scrolled down a few times before I saw the name of the competition and the word accident. The hot topic was a video. At the beginning of the video, it was originally aimed at the participants on the track. But in the middle of the video, suddenly there was a scream in the background sound. Then I heard someone shouting for help. Many people asked what had happened under the video. But the person who posted this video also said that they didn't know. Thinking of Sophie, who had disappeared from the live broadcast camera, I had a bad premonition. Although this woman had destroyed my family, but it takes two to tango. She was responsible for Lucas's affair, but it couldn't all be blamed on her. I myself had paid a huge price because of an accident. So even though I didn't like her, I didn't want anything bad to really happen to her. I didn't have the mood to continue watching the rest of the competition. Instead, I kept refreshing the page. I wanted to see if there was any new news. More than half an hour later, the competition became a hot topic on Weibo again. The list of the top few contestants came out. Lucas was in a relatively lower position. At the same time, someone updated the latest news under that video. A contestant wanted to take a shortcut on a small path. As a result, he slipped and fell into a pit several meters deep. I heard that the injury was quite serious. After Maya came back from work, she gave me the exact news. Did you see the hot topic? The one who took the shortcut was Sophie. She broke her leg. A sneer appeared on Maya's face. The point is that after she was sent to the hospital, 4 or 5 men came one after another. They all claimed to be Sophie's boyfriends. I heard that they even fought in the hospital. With Sophie's style, having this kind of situation was just a matter of time. Maya knew that I didn't like that woman. So she quickly changed the topic. On the day of getting the divorce certificate, it was Maya who accompanied me there. When we arrived, Lucas was already waiting at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. As soon as he saw me, Lucas quickly took a few steps forward. Emily, There was still some bruising on his face. It seemed that he was also among those who had fought in the hospital that day. I don't know if his father had warned him in advance. While waiting to get the certificate, Lucas didn't cause any trouble. He asked me how I was at the entrance, but after being ridiculed by Maya, he didn't say anything else. After getting the certificate, as I was walking out, I blocked Lucas's phone number. Emily, can we still meet in the future? Hearing this, I directly showed him the blocked interface. I don't think so. I heard that you're trying to claim the identity of your girlfriend's boyfriend. Don't waste your time on me. Everyone says that they hope all scumbags in the world will get their comeuppance. I agree with this statement. But when I thought of Lucas's parents, I actually hoped that he could be healthy and take good care of those two old people. As for the rest, let it all pass. Today was my last day in this city. Maya insisted on taking me out for a big meal. We ignored Lucas and walked towards our destination, chatting and laughing. The next day, I got on the plane back home. Unexpectedly, just after I walked out of the airport, I received a message from Ethan. Look up. I hadn't seen him for years. My old classmate from back then, wearing a handsome sportswear, was waving at me. Emily, welcome home. Taking the luggage from my hand, Ethan asked for my opinion. Whether to take me home first or to show me the place where I would work in the future first. After hearing you mention it so many times, of course I want to go and see the place first. In high school, Ethan and I climbed quite a few mountains together and went camping many times. Unexpectedly, after graduating from university, he opened a club. It specialized in teaching beginners how to do various outdoor sports. I hope my old injury won't affect your customer flow. Having an irreversible injury from outdoor sports myself, being a course consultant might lack a lot of persuasiveness. Don't overthink it. Your experience is even richer than mine, and your experience is a warning to those who are interested in outdoor activities. Ethan put away his smile and his expression became serious. Safety first. Don't take chances at any time,